Good morning, everybody, and good day wherever you are. I'm really looking forward to today's interview with our fellow WSI digital marketing consultant, Andrew Foye. And for once, I'm now interviewing somebody else in South Africa. So it's normally someone around the world. So you've got two South Africans under lockdown. And, we're going to share some stories with you and hope that you enjoy this interview. So, Andrew, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I had to put a new background behind me because, it looks like I'm sitting outside and with this lockdown. But, just tell us a little bit about yourself and so we can get the visitors and to know you a little bit better.
Sure. Thanks, Francois, and good morning. So, Francois asked me to give a little background. So, my vintage is 1977, which makes me about 42, yeah. And my mom was South African. Mom is South African, and my father was Irish. So I'm a good mix. And on my wife's side, she's half Austrian and half South African. So our poor children, they really get it.
So were you born in South Africa, or did you come
Yes.
from? Okay.
Yeah, we lived in the UK for about 3.5 years when I was so young. Yeah. But then came back and we've lived here pretty much most of the time since then. So.
Excellent. So I know you had a career before WSI, but how did you come across, the opportunity and sort of what made you think about actually, buying a franchise? Because, what we're trying to do with these interviews is to help, potential franchisees who are looking for a business just to get a feel of what our business is all about.
Yeah. Okay. So I reached a point in my career where I kind of realized I was heading for a bit of a brick wall or a dead end, and I needed to make a significant change. And I knew enough about my own character to recognize that it was time to push myself out of that comfort zone, and that just kind of going from one role to the next within a large organization wasn't gonna work.
Right.
So that prompted me to start reading. And actually at the time I was in the UK. My wife had a short stint, 6 months training there. So I was doing work remotely, and it gave me the opportunity to read a lot more. And I read about many different business models, trying to pick up and identify what's going to work for me. And clearly the concept of recurring revenue was very much what came up. And that's what drove me to start finding out about business models like WSI, which could combine my systems analyst stroke software development stroke IT background, and take me to a more sales orientated role, where I could grow recurring revenue. So I think perhaps also just to look at what do you get your satisfaction from. And one of the I think Steve Jobs once said something along the lines of one of the greatest sources of satisfaction is seeing the difference you can make in somebody else's life. And that kind of resonated with me. It's probably been subconsciously one of the things I've tried to do in my life all along, but I feel with WSI you really can do that in a very meaningful way, and perhaps never more so than right now in the current economic climate.
Exactly. I feel much the same way as you. You want to make a difference, and little did I know, I started this business, 16 years ago, I think just before you did. And you're just looking for an opportunity, leaving corporate, take the plunge to do it on your own. But, I think as you learn so much, you just find that you can share so much more with people, So I find it, really rewarding.
Yeah, perhaps I can also say, I mean, I had very little sales experience before. And one of the things I love about this business is you really do not have to sell. Yes, you do, but your sales approach can just be, let's educate, let's help people to understand. And the more people understand, the more they buy. So that really resonates well with me and with my kind of character, I suppose. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I felt the same way. And although people look at me today and they think I could be, more of a sales guy, but I like to start off slowly and educate people. And, I was never that forward when I started this business. It's just, I think, as I got into public speaking, just to try and improve myself and to differentiate myself, you learn different things as you go along.
Sure.
So you've been with WSI for a while. How long has it been now?
It's 15 years.
15 years. Well,
2006.
It's anybody that can go past 3 years it's pretty good to hang in that long. So 15 years is great. I've been on 16 now, and I must say I'm still enjoying it. I'm enjoying the learning that happens every day. So you've been there 15 years. So what is the biggest value that you might have got from a franchise like WSI? That because many people would wonder, this far in, what else can you get out of it?
So I think I can sum it up with 2 words, and that would be thought leadership. We are operating in an industry which is constantly evolving, and there's no doubt that we have to stay on top of it. So if it were not for the network and for some of the top consultants that are in that network, I know I'd probably still be in the trenches building websites, maybe scraping just the tip of digital marketing, but not really understanding the true potential. And it's very reassuring to be able to grasp, to learn from each other.
Right.
And that's really what it's about for me.
Yeah, that's what we find with the network, that it's, we're a network of consultants that all do the same thing. But we find it's not like we're competing with one another. It's just an amazing experience that you can actually collaborate, working forward. So tell me, what did you do before you started WSI? Because 15 years, so you obviously were doing something for a bit of the time. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my background is definitely more on the IT side. Originally, right at the start, I did a BCom with information systems as kind of the focus, and then it was into IT support, very first job. Then we steadily moved into systems analyst. The company I was working for was doing development of underwriting and claims systems, and management was struggling to understand what the development team was saying, and the development team was struggling to understand the management team. So I kind of acted as that go-between, and out of that came the kind of systems analyst stroke application development roles. Yeah.
So how long were you doing that for?
Probably about 6 years.
6 years, yeah. So you established. So it was the same with me. I was in corporate for a long time, and then you look at starting a business and wondering whether it's the right thing to do. It's a big move because you tend to think you're leaving some security. Although I had no security, I was sort of pretty much dumped out, retrenched, and then you have to find your own way around. So I didn't need any influencing to start my own business. Well, I could have tried to get another job, but I thought I was going to do something. I was just going to try something. I just thought it's just time for me to try it. And so my wife supported me in that. But how did you make that decision? Because it seems like you're not the person that would just take a chance and just give up maybe something secure and move on. Were you influenced in any way to move out on your own?
So there were a couple of things. I'd say the writing was on the wall for the company I was working for.
Okay.
That specific industry had changed significantly, become far more legislated, and the opportunities had changed drastically. And then my father owned a business. Well, he was a part owner in a business for many years. And although he never, Dad passed away about 4 years before I started my own business. So he wasn't there to encourage by word, but definitely his example was a major contributor to giving me the courage to try. And so that's definitely a key reason. And then during that time period, I also was reading extensively. And so that is great. Reading, I found, is perhaps one of the most effective ways for me to learn, because if somebody tells you something, you kind of have that moment to respond.
Yeah.
Whereas with reading, you can let it come in and you can mull it over and work it through and kind of come to your own conclusion. And the person who wrote the book doesn't need to know anything about what your thoughts were on it. So it's a process that's kind of helped me significantly. And Robert Kiyosaki was one. Perhaps the most influential for me was Michael Gerber. He wrote E-Myth, very well-known book. A lot of it in terms of systemization I've tried to use throughout the development of the business. Sure, there's still plenty of work to do, but those are perhaps some of the key characters that influenced me.
Yeah, excellent. And well, now you've been in 15 years. I'm going to ask you what your typical work week is like right now, because when we are in lockdown, we're not moving. We're doing a lot of online meetings. But typically, what is a normal week? How do you, what do you do from the time you sort of get up and plan your day?
Sure. So there's a mix, and that mix kind of changes up. It's not nearly as consistent as I would like it to be, but there's a good mix of prospecting, writing up proposals, sales meetings. I still am involved quite a bit with the project management of the business. A lot of it happens. My team does it. There's 5 of us in the team, so there is a project manager, but it's not a full-time project manager. She has to do a lot of things, a lot of multitasking, and so there's a bit of that. And then R&D, I typically look after the research and development side. If a client asks us for some kind of new system or new marketing campaign, can we do dynamic remarketing or whatever it is, I'm typically the one who will open it up. And then yes, unfortunately, I am still quite heavily involved in the operational side. And I say unfortunate, it is unfortunate. I think I see it as it's part of the growing pains of growing the business. I go through different phases where I manage to shake it off quite a bit, and then I get sucked back into it again. So it just seems to be the way it goes. But obviously, keeping the team focused, trying to balance that important plus urgent versus important not so urgent. Those are always uppermost in our mind, trying to balance it and trying to give more focus to the not so important, important but not so urgent tasks. Otherwise, you're constantly just putting out fires. So, maybe that gives you some idea of.
Yeah, I think what you really, sharing is that system analyst part of you is the one that wants to be, a lot more involved in the business and keep your
Yeah,
hands on, which is, I think it's good because you can create new things and do it, but it can slow you down sometimes, I guess, when it comes to,
absolutely.
filling the pipeline. But it's just it's a great business to be in because there's a job for all of us or a role for all of us. So I've found I like to do the R&D and the creative side of, and even like training and sales. I enjoy. I like speaking, and not from the selling part, but I just really enjoy teaching. And but there were times that you feel like, oh, I wish I could just settle in and work on something for 5 hours and come up with something. So we don't all have that in us, and it's what makes a good team. So I think as long as you got a business that can work and it's got potential, it really does for you. So if you look at you've been in the business for 15 years. Have you had any like highlights that you could share? Because is it just the same old, but are there some things that you've created or achieved that you're proud of?
Sure. So I think, as I said in the beginning, when you can make a difference in somebody else's life, that's really what makes you feel good about what you've done. And maybe that's what you're referring to here in part. So one of our auto dealers has won the best large dealer of the year or large dealer group of the year award. And they've done that twice, 2016 and again 2018. And I know we've played a significant role in those wins. Also, our tent manufacturer client, they won the Western Cape Exporter of the Year award.
No.
It feels good when you can see your client really, really getting the recognition that they deserve.
That's right.
For the efforts they put in, and that you were part of the team that helped to make it happen. Also, perhaps just the realization that you've managed to grow a highly skilled, motivated team that genuinely wants to and has the capacity to help your clients. That is a highlight for sure. It's not won easily when you have to build a business organically. I think there's a big difference between someone who has to build a business organically, which I did in my position, to someone that has extensive capital and can just go out and buy the skills right from the start.
Right.
And then perhaps another highlight, our agency was amongst the first to offer Facebook dynamic ads for dealerships, specifically in South Africa. There was a lot of research that went into that. It includes the preparation of the vehicle feed for Facebook, dynamic ad setups, automatically sending the leads through to the client and getting it into their CRM, and the implementation of numerous checks, because there's plenty of opportunity for that process to fail, and you have to kind of be on top of it all the time. So, pulling it off has I would say is a highlight, and it's also changed the business significantly in terms of revenue and opportunities. So,
that's good. I think when you build a business slowly, like you said, I think we're all in the same situation where you can't just go get the skills. So you sort of develop something yourself, and when it gets too much for you, you got to bring someone in, and then you're going to coach them. And I think it sounds like your team has been loyal to you as well. So obviously if they enjoy working with you, you keep a team for a while, So I think that makes a big difference, to just feeling confident every day that you can go out there, and deliver the work that we do.